case the kick dies on us. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday night here in Toronto. I am Tracy Sider. I am creator of the Reshape Method program and host of the Women 40 Plus Getting Ache-Free group. What we are all about in my world is we are about helping women over 40 to fix their nagging back, hip, and neck aches. We are about reshaping your alignment, the way your body moves, so that you can resolve your aches and redefine your midlife. And I'm so excited to have with us tonight my friend and colleague, Debbie Waidl. Debbie is a migraine freedom expert. Okay, and I have to be very careful how I pronounce that because in South Africa, which is the accent you're hearing, we call it migraines. And my daughter's always like, So, Debbie, welcome. It's so awesome to have you with us tonight. I thought that, this segues very nicely because often when you got the back pain, the neck pain, the hip pain, it can come with migraines. So, welcome. So wonderful to have you with us tonight.
Thank you so much for having me, Tracy. I'm so happy to be here to chat with your community.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, just an overview of what we're going to be speaking about, and how you got into the migraine thing.
Absolutely. So as
And
Tracy
I'm just going to check. Sorry, I'm going to check
yeah.
for comments. So you know what? I'm going to make myself small and make you big. I'm going to go into the group, watch the comments. So if you're watching us live, please say hi in the chat, okay? And let us know if you struggle from migraines, if you're coming to listen because you know somebody who's struggling from migraines, okay? Let us know in the chat, and I'm going to go back and Debbie will go forward, and we will let Debbie take over. Okay.
Sounds amazing. So as Tracy said, I am Debbie Waidl. I am a migraine freedom expert, and I am the founder of the Migraine Freedom Protocol. And it is that very protocol that took me from daily migraines for 10 years now to over a decade migraine free. And this same protocol I have used with thousands of women to help them reduce the severity, duration, and frequency of their migraines, allowing them to actually get back to their life. And I, of course, started what I do because of my story, because of the fact that I had migraines. I mean, I went to, as the rest of you did, if anyone is here who has a migraine, you know the drill, right? You try the over-the-counters, you go to the doctor, nothing is working, you try the meds, and things just get worse and worse and worse. And in my 30s, I was on 7 different medications and taking over the counters like they were candy. I would literally shake out ibuprofen in my hand and just plug it in my mouth. And my health got worse and worse. And when I was in my 30s, I really felt like I don't know what it feels like to be 80, but I had that impression that I felt like an 80-year-old because I had no energy. I had no zest for life, nothing. And that's when I took matters into my own hands, did the training, did the research, used myself as a guinea pig. And here we are today, to be able to really support women who feel lost because they don't have that control of their health. I am a mama too. My kids are all grown up and out of the house, so I'm an empty nester, though I do have my little puppy, my Havanese at home. He will probably sneak in a little while, just to forewarn you. He's out on a walk so we could get started, but he clings to my side, so he's my working buddy. If you can see, he's got his little bed back here, so I'm sure he'll be here soon. I live in Rochester, New York. Very cold here, so I'm sure weather's similar to Tracy and maybe many of your clients. It's snowy, it's cold, but I love it. I absolutely love it. So that's a little bit about me. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between maybe how you're trying to approach migraines right now and how I help women actually achieve their migraine freedom. So, Tracy, just before I start, are many of these women that we're chatting with today, do they have migraines, or are a lot just like chronic pain all over?
I think it's a mixture.
Okay.
We had quite a few people saying that they will be catching the replay, and people were. It's a mixture. I know, and we have a few members in my Reshape Method program who do struggle with migraines, and it can be so debilitating.
Oh, 100%. So everything I talk about today, I'm going to focus it towards migraines, but I want you to know that this is really going to support anyone with chronic pain. But I'm just going to keep saying migraines because, ladies, that's what I do 24/7. That's what I talk
Amazing.
about all the time. So to make sure that we're all on the same page when we start out, let's start today by talking about the first pillar that I focus on with my clients, and that's migraine transformation versus migraine management. And, I'm sure, Tracy, your audience, you want to treat pain. Many of them start off the conventional way, right? Let's find the pill, let's find the quick fix, let's find that one size fits all treatment plan. So you go into the office complaining of pain that's not stopping. You take the over the counter because you need to function, right? That's what my people tell me all the time. I need to function, so I got to do something.
Hmm.
And your doctor, after, those couple questions, they determine you have migraines or whatever it is. And instead of digging into the why and figuring out what's going on with the pain, they usually start with that typical go-to meds for migraines, right? It's a triptan, and then the migraine train, the medication train begins. They tell you take it right away. You get 9 pills a month. Yet most of us have more than 9 migraines a month, at least most of the women that I work with. And they don't feel good. When they take this med, it actually makes them feel worse. They're all worried. They don't know what to do. There's this nagging worry in the back of their mind too, that, if they take this pill, maybe they're not going to have enough for the next time. So they check their calendar, ensure they have enough to last through all their important events in the month, before they can get a refill. And it just is really panicking. Then the anxiety starts. Now we have head pain and now we have anxiety because we're worried about not having enough pills. And once these stop working, because they will, doctors will put my people on preventative medications. The insurance company now is going to allow you more meds, the abortives, because you're on preventatives. And we keep going and going and going, right? Until these stop working. And then we get into even more serious things, nerve blocks. Some of your people might have looked into that if they have severe pain, into getting steroid injections, looking at Botox and all these kind of things. And, it just keeps going and going and going. And they get trapped in this cycle of paying monthly for all these pills. It's kind of like Groundhog's Day. It's like over and over and over again. Now, if one of you right now is seeing a conventional doctor, I do not want you blaming them. This is how they were trained. They were trained to do this. And I am sure, because you're in Tracy's group right now, you're searching for different answers. You're searching for a way to help yourself without having to use these quick fixes. Now, I took the meds for like 10 years until it finally hit me. And I realized that my doctors were trained in pain management, but that's not what I wanted. So I was going to the right person, but not for the right thing. I really wanted to stop that pain from coming in the first place. And the truth, as I said, my doctor wasn't equipped to do it. So fortunately, I did keep looking. But I want you to stop to think about this, when you're thinking about who's going to help and support you to get to where you want to be. If your refrigerator's broken, you're not going to reach out to the local grocery store owner and say, hey, can you stock up on ice for me every day so I can keep my food cold? You're going to call a repair person to come fix the refrigerator. And I want you to think about the medication like the ice. You're just putting a Band-Aid on every day. But if you go to someone who can actually help you get to the root cause, like someone like Tracy or myself, who's really going to take this holistic, whole body approach and actually give your body what it needs, you don't need the ice anymore. You have the repair person, you get it fixed.
I love that.
So,
That is such a wonderful explanation of what we do, right? Because our medical system is there to
yep,
help people survive because
yep,
that's what it's meant to do, right? And I think I know I certainly did when I was struggling with I had the trifecta, back, hip, and neck pain, and I would get migraines as well. And I I believed that the medical system was there to help me thrive, and it wasn't. And I think
correct.
that can be a shock, the realization of that. And if you're happy just surviving, then fine. But I was not happy just surviving.
Exactly. And neither was I. But the sad thing is, I'm sure your clients or, women in your group and the same in mine, they don't necessarily realize that there's another way,
Yes.
that there's a way out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're
Well,
here to talk about today. In
and
fact,
I'm so
I did
excited to
blank.
hear about that.
Yeah, so hopefully you didn't hear the loud noise, but Patches is joining us, so he's going to hang out in the background.
It's good. It's good. I had my dog walking in and out the whole day because there was some construction down the road and he was sure the sky was falling.
There you go. So we kind of talked at first, that difference between, the conventional and the functional. And now we really want to talk about one of our biggest pillars, which is threshold versus triggers. And this really is my favorite concept when we start switching our mind to, okay, I want to get to that root cause. I want to figure out what's going on. And again, I'm going to explain it from a migraine perspective. So, what is this migraine threshold? I want you to think about a level of triggers that you can actually handle before it pushes you over the edge and causes a migraine. I really cannot stress the importance enough of knowing what this is. So, I want to use another little analogy to kind of explain it. So, I want you to think about having a bucket that's empty. And when you have this bucket that's empty, that's your migraine freedom. You have no pain, right? If you have a coffee cup next to you, kind of picture that in your head. Now, when we start running into trouble is when we start filling that bucket. So let's say you ate a lot of sugar today. You're going to add some water to the bucket. Let's say you skipped your morning workout or your stretch this morning. We're going to add some water to the bucket. You had a really stressful day. You're adding more water to the bucket. Each thing that you add to the bucket, it's going to start bringing on more symptoms and move you closer to a migraine. And eventually, when the bucket overflows, you're in full-blown migraine or full-blown pain, whatever it is you have going on. So the strategy really is to keep that bucket as empty as possible, bringing yourself close to as few triggers as possible. But we know that just doing that is not going to be enough because let's face it, so many people that have migraines say weather is a trigger or lights are a trigger or scents are a trigger, and we can't avoid those, right? So we need to figure out a way to take, like, let's say this is my bucket. I got to turn this in and I got to get a bigger bucket because if I do, the more when I come into contact with these triggers, it's not going to push me over the edge. So this is how we get to actually find our migraine freedom. We get to actually be healthier, but still allow ourselves some of the pleasures that we like in life instead of, really just saying, oh my God, I have to live the 100-100 rule. I have to be perfect all the time. Nobody wants to live that way. We want to be healthy, right? We don't want to be in pain. We want to be healthy. But
Right.
every once in a while, we might want a piece of chocolate. Every
Yeah.
once in a while, we might want a couple sips of wine or a piece of bread or whatever. And the great thing is when you follow this threshold theory, you can do that and not worry about it. Now, I'm not saying, throw everything away. We're not going to eat sugar all day long. We're not going to drink 2 bottles of wine, but we can still enjoy life and feel good at the same time. So it's really key that when you're thinking about migraines, you don't get stuck in this, let me find every single trigger and eliminate it type mentality, because that's what we see in conventional medicine. You walk into the doctor's office, he says, here's your pill, don't drink wine, get some sleep, and maybe get some exercise, and I'll see you in 6 months. And that's not enough. It's not enough. We really need to focus on, okay, what is it I need to do to help my body? Which we're going to talk about a second in the third pillar. But I'm hoping that this concept really helps all of you think about the fact that you don't have to panic over finding this laundry list of everything that you have to avoid. I can tell you right now, I am about 15 years migraine free. It's been over a decade, it's about 15 years. I had a glass of wine last weekend. I had a piece of chocolate today. It snowed today. I am in no fear of having a migraine.
That is freedom, right? That is absolute freedom. Amazing. Amazing. So tell us
Exactly.
more about how we get that freedom.
Exactly. So this is where we really need to dive in and determine where it's coming from. And this is where we talk about inflammation reduction versus symptom cover up. And I want to start by saying inflammation is 100% a natural response, of the body's immune system. And it can be beneficial when it's acute, and it cannot be dangerous when it's acute, right? This means that if we cut our finger, that inflammation is going to come out. It is going to help heal the finger. We're good to go. And we call this green zone inflammation in the Migraine Freedom Protocol. The body is going to use this inflammation to actually defend against all the dangerous cells, viruses, bacteria, other threats, whatever it is, right? But the problem comes in when that inflammation becomes chronic. which is for so many of us nowadays. We can have this low level simmering chronic inflammation that can persist for months and years and decades due to a failure for us to eliminate that underlying cause. And the problem with chronic inflammation is you can't see it on your face typically, right? There's no sign that says you are chronically inflamed. But chronic inflammation is really becoming more prevalent due to society's tendency to cover up symptoms instead of addressing their root cause. I have back pain, let me take a pill. I have a migraine, let me get a nerve block, right? But we're not taking care of the root problem. It's this quick fix, instant gratification approach that is evident in our body's diminishing abilities to actually fight off the conditions that we should be able to easily fight off, like the common cold, the flu, and dare I even say it, even COVID. When our bodies are super healthy and not chronically inflamed, we have a better ability to fight these things faster. And it's even reflected in the rise of autoimmunity, diabetes, Alzheimer's, heart disease, etc. We know that inflammation now is really being linked to almost every health condition, including like thinking of symptoms like depression and anxiety and panic attacks. What else? Infertility, weight gain, brain fog, exhaustion. And the good news is that research on this topic is finally gaining momentum. It's finally coming about in conventional medicine. I actually went in for blood work a couple weeks ago, and my doctor actually said something about inflammation. Now, she's a conventional doctor. I use her for, at least for blood work. And it was the first time I'd heard her say that. Before it was always, oh, that's normal. Let's give you a pill. Let's fix it. So, because that's what doctors tend to do, right? They tend to focus on treating the symptoms rather than addressing the root cause, which is we're saying is chronic inflammation. Even Harvard Medical School, they agree that inflammation is playing a central role in some of the most challenging diseases of our time. And despite, all of the medical advancements we have, right? There's so many medical advancements now, all the new drugs, all the new procedures. We would assume that we would be a healthier nation. But unfortunately, the world is becoming a sicker place. And migraines are actually increasing despite more migraine meds and more migraine treatments out there. The latest being CGRPs that they swore would be the savior of everything and would save everyone from migraines, but they're not. And it's because all the things we've been talking about, the meds, the procedures, and all that, they don't reduce chronic inflammation in the long run. It's a short-term fix. So it's up to us to take a look at our bodies and determine where that chronic inflammation is coming from. And we look at 6 key areas. One being electrolyte symmetry. How are you hydrating your body? Are you drinking coffee all day long? Are you drinking soda? Are we doing sugary drinks? Or are we actually giving our body water, which is going to then get into our cells and do all the work that it needs to do? What are we doing nutrition-wise? We look at nutrition integration in our protocol. Are we eating healthy foods and the healthy foods that are right for us? I am not a believer that there is one magical diet that is right for everyone. And it has been proven with our clients. Yes, we all need to eat healthy food. Yes, we all need to, reduce sugar intake. But some people, a higher fat intake might be right for them, healthy fats. For some people, maybe they can handle more higher, carbohydrates that are nice complex carbohydrates, but you really have to look at the person. And then there's 4 more areas, and I won't whip through each one, for too long, but looking at things like circadian responsivity. Are you sleeping the way that you should be, or are you in bed for 9 hours and not sleeping? Movement stabilization. How are you moving in a day? We talk to our clients about there's 3 different areas of movement. Are you stretching? Are you doing strength? And are you doing cardio every day? Or at least are you getting a combination of that throughout your week? Like my job, I sit here all day long. I have to focus on this. It has to be a key focus for me compared to one of my clients who maybe is a dance teacher and is moving all day long and getting that movement in. Then we look at things like mindset modulation. This one is a key one I'm finding, especially in the world that we're in nowadays. How are we perceiving stress? We know we can never eliminate stress from the world. It's just not going to happen. We can't eliminate it from the outside world. We can't eliminate it from inside our own home. But what can we do to change our perception of what that's like? There have been studies out there that show that stress actually causes more inflammation than inflammatory food. So if you're all worried about the Oreos, but you're not worried about the fact that you don't have healthy relationships, there's not a good balance there, right? There's really not. So we
Yeah,
really need to dial
absolutely.
in and think
I
about that.
think I think we really don't take this upregulation of our nervous system as seriously as we should. And doing things like in the reshape method, for example, we have these alignment resetting moves that really just allow the whole nervous system to down regulate, right?
Exactly. Exactly. It has become something that is so important with my clients that we actually have a separate coach in our program that just focuses on mindset. We have a separate call every week. And since doing so, we've actually brought our success rate of helping our clients to up over 90%,
Amazing.
90%,
Wow.
reducing that severity, duration, and frequency. But the funny thing is when everyone comes to us, what's the first thing they want to fix? They want to fix their food. It's got to be my food. Food's got to be the reason I have a migraine. And I look at what they're eating. I'm like, you're eating pretty healthy. Sure, we can make some tweaks, but so that stress piece is huge.
Mhm.
And then the last piece that we look at is toxicity mitigation. And this is a really big one, especially for the women that I work with, because they are taking a ton of medications. They are doing Botox. They are being recommended to do nerve blocks. So those are just some of the obvious toxins. But then even looking at the things that maybe we don't think about every day, the toxins that we are getting from maybe we're using plastic, we're eating our food out of plastic that we've heated up, or our clean air. Right now I have quite a few women who live in California, so we're chatting with them about, do you have an air purifier in your house? Are you wearing a mask when you go outside, due to the wildfires, the fires in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
So there's so many pieces to toxicity that we need to pull apart. And I'm not saying we have to go as crazy as what kind of paint do you have on the wall and what kind of carpet do you have? Maybe we need to get there, but typically it's just the everyday things that we don't think about. And when I mention that to someone, can you just switch, to a stainless steel water bottle? They're like, well, I never even thought about that. I buy my water in plastic all the time. So the key thing to remember is, I know for any of you who are watching who have migraines, you're probably like, I've done that. I've tried that. There's no way all that stuff works. But the key is, first of all, taking all 6 of those areas and almost marrying them. They need to work together. So your electrolyte symmetry is going to be totally different if you were someone that does hot yoga every day versus someone that just takes a leisurely walk every day. Your nutrition is going to be different if you're somebody that is high stressed or does kickboxing every day compared to someone who's sedentary, right? All of those pieces need to go together and they need to be right for you. And I'm sure this is what Tracy does when she works with her clients, figuring out what works for each and every one, making sure that they can come up with their, an individualized plan based off of the education you're giving them. And that I know is the key, because when you go up on Dr. Google, and you're trying to search things and, everything that comes up is, all basic and generic, eat this food, don't eat that food, don't touch tomatoes, don't touch lemons. I feel so bad. I'm like, why did tomatoes and lemons always get just bad rep? But, it's really all about the person, right? If you're allergic to tomatoes, don't eat them. But if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not, guess what? Most of the women that I work with can eat tomatoes and eat lemons and have vinegar and not have an issue. So we call it stacking. It's our stacking that we do with our 6 key areas. And it really has made a significant difference in every woman's life that we work with.
That is incredible. So what kind of results can women expect? Is it a gradual reduction that you see most often?
So I'm going to be talking specifically right now about people who work with me in one of our signature programs. So these are women that work with me for 4 months to a year. And depending on what things they have going on in their health will really depend on how long this could take. I've had women come into my program. Karen comes to mind right now. She's actually from London, went to the London clinic, spent 10,000 pounds trying to end her migraines, had them for 40 years. She was 2 weeks into the program and her migraines were gone. Now that is a rare unicorn. right? That is not a typical, that was very quick, but she literally did get rid of 40 years of migraines in 2 weeks, just really focusing on those 6 areas. Typically, it's around 4 months, which is my base program is 4 months. Typically, after 4 months, you notice a very significant reduction in the severity, duration, and frequency. But the more things you have going on, the longer you've had migraines, the longer it's going to take. So if you're someone who's had migraines for 50 years and has autoimmune conditions, thyroid issues, maybe, you don't exercise as much and, we have to work on changing your whole diet, that's not going to take 4 months. Now we might be talking 7, 8, 9 months. But as I say to these women all the time, you've had migraines, most of them that I work with, for decades. If this ends up taking a year and now you have the rest of your life to live migraine free, that's a little blip. It's a little blip on the timesheet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And as you go through, symptoms keep reducing. You keep feeling better. So it's not like it's a flip of a switch. Like I'm not going to get any results till 9 months, right? As you work on things, you start noticing, I have more energy. Somebody told me the other day, their coworker said to them, you're like glowing. So they could see it in their skin.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they could hear it in that person's voice and their attitude.
Right.
And we really focus quite a bit with our with the people in the Freedom from Migraine method, to share their wins and to notice them, because of course, what do we all focus on? We focus on the pain. We focus on the fact we're still getting migraines. But when you talk to them and ask them, well, how did your week go? I actually had a date night with my husband this week. I haven't done that in 20 years. I must have not, wait a minute. I didn't have all the migraines I normally have this week, right? But they had one migraine, so they forgot about all the other 6 days. But it's great to watch them see that progression of getting better. And of course, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it, the more you show up and do the work. But it's just so amazing to watch. And I think there's nothing better than this job. I cannot imagine doing anything else in the world, because I get to do what I'm so passionate about. I get to watch women get their lives back, and I get to empower them to really take control of their own health. Because we have our conventional doctors, right? They're amazing. I break my leg, I want a conventional doctor to help me out. They're awesome. And if I was in massive pain tomorrow and I couldn't solve it in one day, I might need a pill, until I can get to the root cause and figure it out. So they're amazing, but I love to know that I'm in control of my health. I've reversed 2 autoimmune conditions in myself, gotten my thyroid numbers way back down to normal. I'm not on steroids. I have eosinophilic esophagitis. They wanted me on steroids for life. And it's the best feeling knowing that just by making simple changes that you can take that control. And I'm sure that the women you work with feel the same way, knowing they can do what you recommend or the things that you train them on from the research, and they can feel better.
Right. Because I think as alternative health practitioners, I ran my masterclass last night, the Ache-Free and Aging Backwards masterclass. And we speak about having the knowledge and the understanding and using our expertise and years of training and people like you and I, we've gone through this process ourselves, and there's a lot to be said for that, so that we are empowered to just take charge of our bodies. And it seems such a simple concept, but it's like our medical system is taking away that empowerment from us. And absolutely, there is a place for our doctors and for medication, without a doubt. But when it starts to make you feel that you are not in control and that you are at the mercy of all these things happening around you, and you have to wait for your doctor's appointment in order to get A, B, or C to make you feel X, Y, or Z, that's a problem. Especially 100%. When what Debbie and I are teaching you and telling you, which is firmly based in science, right? We're not making it up.
Nope.
Is actually so accessible and so easy, and will make you feel so much better. So I love that you are helping people with this very, very important area. I know when I was a smoker many years ago, I used to get migraines a lot. So,
Guess what? I was too, but of course we're that age, right?
right.
We
Yeah.
are that age of when it was, that was the norm. But yeah, because all those toxins, all that
Mhm.
inflammation. And I think you just kind of hit the nail on the head right there too. The part of the problem is our society. We look at TV, we look at, movies and ads and everything, and we're still not educating people on the things that are healthy. We still can take our kids to the grocery store and up and down the aisles, what is there? Crap cereal, right?
Yeah.
We had things like COVID happen, and what happens? We close the gyms, we close the health food stores, but what's still open? The liquor stores, right? We're not educating people enough on the power that they have. And that's part of what I hope, even for women that maybe never work with me privately. I hope if they take anything away from what I teach is that you really do need to question what you see and really stop to think, is this something that's serving me well, or is this a quick thing? A box of cereal, it's a quick thing, right? But you take 5 more minutes to make some eggs or something else for breakfast, and what a difference in your day.
Right.
What a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, can you let people know how they can get hold of you, how they can work with you? Do you have any resources for people to get started on?
Absolutely. So you can jump into my website, debbiewaidl.com, nice and easy, just my name. It'll have all of the information over there on the various different ways that we work with people. I am on almost every social platform, but I do spend most of my time on Facebook. So I am in the Women's Migraine Freedom Facebook group. Jump on over there. We actually have our guides set up purposely for everyone to get, an experience of what we do. So there's probably over 50 hours worth of complimentary trainings and resources over there that you can get your hands on. My team will help you, guide you right through that. And right now I'm super excited because we are relaunching our community membership. It will actually open on February 1st. And this is for those women who they really want to dive in to end their migraines, but they're a little hesitant about doing a 4 to 6 month program. They're a little hesitant about believing that they can end their migraines without medication. This is a great place to start. And right now we have a few more founding member spots that are only $67 a month. So like
Incredible.
$2.39 a
Wow.
month, right? You can't go to Starbucks for $2.39 a day.
Yeah.
So check out the membership. That's really going to be one of the best places for you to get started. And the great thing is you're locked into whatever price you sign up as. And right now, like I said, it's $30 cheaper a month, and you can cancel anytime. There's no obligation. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they are stuck doing something. I want them to be comfortable, get to know me. And once you do, you will realize that myself and my team, I have a team of 10, our goal is to make sure that you have your migraine freedom. That is why we are
Mhm.
here.
Well, thank you so, so much for coming to speak with us tonight. And really, I hope that everybody who watches, and so many people said that they did want the replay link, that it just gives some hope that it
Yes.
is possible to
Yes.
get on top of your migraines and to resolve them. And you, and I'm sure the many hundreds of women who've gone through your program are proof of that too.
Yeah.
And that it's probably not as difficult as people think it is either. You just need the right coach and support through the
Yeah. Just
program.
finding the right pieces for you.
Yeah,
That's really it. Just finding those
yeah.
right pieces. And we kind of take away all the noise and just guide you towards what you need so that you can do it so much faster. So I greatly appreciate, Tracy, the opportunity to come on today to talk to your group. And I do hope that some of these tips help them as well, whether they have migraines or not, because it really is about
Yeah,
overall health, right? It's really just
absolutely.
about giving your body what it needs.
Yeah. So helpful. Thank you. And if you're watching on the replay, just type hashtag replay in the comments if you have any questions for Debbie. Debbie, are you available to come into our Facebook group and answer any questions that people have?
Of course. Of course.
Fantastic. Well, have a wonderful rest of the evening. And just your membership sounds fantastic. So I hope many people check that out because, this is the thing, we don't need to struggle. We really
Yeah.
don't need to struggle. I talk about in the reshape method, right? It is about reshaping your alignment of your body because many of our aches and pains and even migraines, right, are because we are using muscles that are not meant to be moving us. Right? Many of us are breathing with our neck muscles, creating all this tension around here. I know that was a big problem for me because the skeleton of your body is misaligned and you're actually not breathing the way the body's meant to breathe, right? And if we just really go under the hood and look at what is causing our problems, the solutions are often much simpler than we think they are. And fill us with so much more joy, right? I talk about reshaping alignment so we can resolve aches. Why? So that we can redefine midlife.
Exactly.
Right? Because it is not all downhill from here. And it may feel that way if you're struggling with migraines every day.
I feel I'm 50. I always have to stop to think. I'm 55. I feel healthier now than when I was in my 20s.
Absolutely. And you know what? And I say that all the time. I'm 55 next week. And I'm like, I am literally...
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. I'm literally stronger, more supple, more agile than I was in my 30s.
Because we're empowered.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's so accessible, right? I think it's really just about being a little bit curious to explore something that may be different to what we're being told, you know, by our society, by our culture, by the media, that, well, this is just your lot in life here. Take the medication, do whatever you need to do. And that's so sad because there is another way. There are other ways. So thank you so much for coming and sharing. I love what it says behind you, our migraine-free journey. What is that?
Yes. I don't know if you can see this, but my daughter had this made for me, and all of these are pins of all the women that we've helped around the world. It's really hard to see the colors here, but you know, there's women all over that we've helped them find their migraine freedom.
That is what a beautiful, beautiful gift. And to see your, you know, the incredible support and transformation, because these kind of transformations are literally life-changing, right? What kind of things are women telling you?
Oh my goodness. So we have a woman right now who was able to go on a 6-week vacation, not one migraine. She's like, I never would have been able to do that. Another one who was able to help her daughter plan her wedding. She was afraid she wasn't going to even be able to like make it for the whole day of the wedding. Someone who was there when their grandchild was born. I mean, those are the big events. But I must be honest, most of them, they just want the day-to-day back.
Yeah.
I have literally had women say to me, I would love to just be able to do laundry and make dinner and not have to ask for help. Yeah. Because they can't even get that done on a daily basis without, you know, massive pain. So it's great to see the big wins, but it's also wonderful to see them just be able to, as they say, that's their words, live a normal life. Yeah. I just want to live a normal life like everyone else. I don't want someone to look at me and go, oh, how are you feeling today? Are you okay? You know, like everyone thinks of them as the sick person because they always are in pain. So just to see those simple joys, and so many of them can get back to work. You know, like my top 3 coaches right now, my top 3 success coaches, they all had to retire from their jobs. One was a 40-year educator, one was a nurse practitioner, one was a college chemistry professor. None of them were able to work because of migraines. Now, fortunately, when they got their migraine freedom, they decided to stay with me and not go back to work. So I'm very fortunate they didn't go back to their full day, you know, daytime job. But it's so great to see that passion in them and that they can actually live and live the way that they want to.
Beautiful.
You know, and that's the best thing ever.
So wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming to talk with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Any questions, pop them in the chat, and have a wonderful rest of the week.
Thanks, Tracy. Happy early birthday again.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.